Hello everyone, how are we doing? Welcome back. So today we've got a spicy topic for you about the 20 mile an hour speed limit rollout in Wales. Now this is divided a lot of people. It's been making the rounds over the last week. It was introduced, I think, last week, a week ago, something like that. And I'm going to give you my take on this because I'm not traditionally for 20 mile an hour limits. One of the biggest reasons why is that during the 90s and 2000s, when I was learning to drive, when I was learning to ride, or the late 2000s, 30 mile an hour was the thing that just was drilled into you every single day. 30 mile an hour. Don't do more than 30 in a 30. And now all of a sudden, for whatever reason, 30 is now too fast. So instead, we're going to do 20 mile an hour. Now that's going to be the new thing. It's going to be drilled into us that we've got to do 20 mile an hour in these areas. We'll go through some of the justifications of why this was rolled out, and we'll kind of have a little bit of a discussion on whether or not these things actually make that much of an impact. But one of my biggest issues with all this is the fact that we are relying on these so-called experts to tell us what is safe and what isn't safe. And there used to be a kind of balance between keeping roads fairly safe, but at the same time not hindering motorists, not getting in the way of motorists. And that's the biggest issue with 20 mile an hour roads. I've experienced this myself in Wales. This was in a town called Chepstow, and this was when was it? February, March time, something like that, earlier this year. And the one thing that it did really, really well was cause congestion. Alright, and the thing is though, is that I've always said, in urban environments, in suburban environments, you can enforce these kinds of limits as much as you like, because that's probably where the majority of these accidents are happening involving speed, and that's where speed is perhaps most sensitive in built up areas where you don't have much room to make an error, much room to make any mistakes, right? So I don't necessarily mind that, but they kind of went really over the top in Chepstow, and I can see that that's what they're going to do throughout the rest of the country as well. I mean, we'll talk about Wales specifically here, but I have no doubt that they're going to try and do this stuff across the UK, in Scotland, England, and in Northern Ireland. I have no doubt that they're going to try and impose something like this. But yeah, so experts basically can't make up their minds what is safe and what is good for the drivers. But basically, all this is very anti-motorist. Let me show you the rationale behind their decision to do this. So this is on the Welsh Government website, introducing 20 mile an hour limits. We've made this change to reduce the number of collisions and severe injuries from them, also reducing the impact on the NHS from treating people who are injured, encouraging more people to walk and cycle in our communities, that's a big one, and help to improve our health and well-being. I don't understand where that's applicable. Make our streets safer, debatable, safeguard the environment for future generations. I don't understand what the hell that means. So this very first point here, reducing the number of collisions and therefore reducing the impact on the NHS. So yeah, I mean, the NHS, as we all know, is under pressure. It always has been, it always will be. It is the nature of the job, right? People get hurt, people get injured, people get sick. The NHS is there to help people, and this isn't going to stop people from getting injured. Let's just put that out there, right? Changing the speed limit from 30 to 20 mile an hour in some of these roads is not going to reduce the impact on the NHS. If you get hit by a car doing 20 mile an hour, it's going to hurt an awful lot, and you're going to be severely injured. I thought about this earlier, about these kind of contraptions that were in schools, and they were kind of teaching you, I think, about seatbelts. I can't remember. I think it was about seatbelts, where they would put you in this thing, put you in a seat, you put your seatbelt on, and it would be like on a little slide, and you slide down, and then you'd have a very abrupt and sudden stop, and it's bang, it's like a shudder. And I think they infamously or famously say that's only 3 miles an hour. So imagine what it's like doing anything more than that, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, doesn't matter. It's very easy to imagine the impact of those speeds when that is what it feels like at 3 miles an hour. So it's pretty safe to say that 20 miles an hour is not going to stop people from getting injured. In theory, it is going to allow more people to have a better reaction time, so they're able to respond to what's going on the roads. Maybe it will help, but 30 mile an hour is pretty slow already. I think a lot of people don't seem to understand that 30 is quite slow. Well, of course, a lot of us are motorists, a lot of us are road users. You know what 30 mile an hour is like. You know what it feels like. It's slow. 30 mile an hour is slow. It's a very slow speed to go. And now you're going to have cyclists, e-scooters and e-bikes that are going to go faster than you. And I kind of mentioned this in another video quite a while ago now. This might have been last year, the year before, about why I'm not a fan of 20 mile an hour roads. And that's another reason, is that when cyclists are able to go faster than you on a particular road and they can't be punished, then there's something wrong there. Yeah, and again, it's this whole thing of favouring walking and cycling in our communities. It's trying to get people to not drive their cars, and I don't understand where this whole kind of anti-car kind of idea came from. Because let's be honest here, right? If they really wanted to stop people from speeding, if they really wanted to reduce the impact on the NHS from collisions on the road and things like that, there are other ways that they could do it that would be more significant and more impactful. Just stop people from driving their cars in cities. Say, nope, no cars allowed in cities. No buses, no cars, no nothing allowed in cities. Right? Do you really think that's going to solve the problem anyway? You know? They're already trying to get us to do the whole park and ride thing, where they want us to park outside a city centre in a car park, pay for the parking, then we need to pay for a bus to take us directly into the city centre. So what's the point in me having a car to begin with? Why don't I just get a bus from the town that I'm in all the way to the city centre of the town that I'm trying to get to? I just, again, but you know, all these politicians, they say they're anti-woke and all that stuff. This is woke nonsense. All of it is just nonsense. Anyway, kind of going a little bit off topic here, but you know, they say things like to improve our health and well-being. What? From the carbon monoxide? From the emissions that cars produce? I don't know, maybe? You know, is that really going to impact people's lives? I mean, I suppose people that have asthma and things like that, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, for God's sake, people were smoking like chimneys for the last century, and that's apparently better than breathing in car fumes. It's not like you're sticking your mouth around the damn exhaust pipe, are you? I'm trying to be more reasonable about this stuff, because you guys know me. I'm not in favour of this kind of stuff, because for my mind, all these politicians, all these people are all about trying to make people go slower. And actually, that's the exact opposite of what we should be doing. Maybe a really good idea is actually to try and find ways of moving people faster, getting people quicker to their destinations, rather than, let's stick on a 10-mile stretch of road that's 20 mile an hour just to whatever, right? For no reason whatsoever. And that's what they've done in particular in Chepstow. And it's really funny actually, because further down they actually say here about 8 communities that were selected as the first phase to introduce 20 mile an hour limits. I'm looking at this, and Chepstow isn't in here. Chepstow is one of the first places to get a 20 mile an hour limit imposed practically everywhere. Even on roads where there were no houses, there were nothing, it was still a 20 mile an hour even down those roads. And I just thought this is ridiculous, this is outrageous. But anyway, I think we'll kind of just dispel a few rumors, myths, so we kind of really, so we all understand exactly what this is, right? Because it's not supposed to be 20 mile an hour imposed on every single road that was a 30. Apparently these roads have been selected to be 20 mile an hour instead of 30, so it's not all of them. So you will still see a lot of roads that are still 30 mile an hour in Wales, at least in these areas that they mention in these places, plus others. So it's not all areas, okay? It's not all roads that were 30. I think a lot of people are getting this confused, where like all roads now are 20 mile an hour. No, it's not like that, right? It's only specific roads, and a lot of these are in urban and suburban environments, okay? So, well, I mean, I've already said the biggest impacts for me is congestion. It takes a lot longer to get through 20 mile an hour areas, especially when they are imposed on very long stretches of road. I mean, imposing 20 mile an hour limits on housing estates is absolutely fine in my opinion. I don't really see a problem with that. But when you impose the 20 mile an hour limit on the main road that connects all these housing estates together, that's a problem. It's a very, very big problem, because that really does impact the ability, that really impacts travel times for drivers. And of course, because all the roads that connect to it as well are faster roads, because they're all rural roads, they're all national speed limit roads, 60 mile an hour, and they all end up getting onto the single main roads that are 20 mile an hour now, supposedly because it's safer. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't make a difference apart from just pissing everybody off that's on that road. And I'll tell you now, if I ever have to go to Chepstow again, I'm going to avoid it like the plague. I mean, I think I'm going to avoid a lot of places in Wales like the plague if this gets rolled out even further. Because I went to Chepstow to look at a car. This was when I sold my Audi TT and I was looking for a new car, and there was a dealership in Chepstow that, well, I went to go and look at a car there, and I said to them, I asked them about these 20 mile an hour limits everywhere now, and they're like, oh, I know, it's stupid, it's so stupid. And the biggest issue for me is that I was test driving a car and I couldn't really test drive it because I could only do 20 mile an hour everywhere. I had to travel for miles to find a road that wasn't 20 mile an hour, just to give it the beans a little bit, to really put it through its paces, so I could figure out whether or not the clutch needed replacing, to figure out whether or not how healthy the car was. And I wasn't able to do that. And again, it's just something else that people don't seem to think about. And the whole stretch of the road was 20 mile an hour. It didn't need to be 20 mile an hour. I'm going to see if I can find it actually, because I'm not going to be able to actually, no, because Chepstow is quite a big town. But I don't like this. I don't like this whole thing. I mean, to be fair, all right, let's have a look here. So I did do a little bit of research on the enforcement of 20 mile an hour limits, and supposedly in Wales, 20 mile an hour limit. What is that? Oh, it's a bloody advert. Whenever I put my mouse over that advert in the middle, it starts. There you go, and the dog's going now. It's all right, bird. It's just this stupid website. So website go safe. Blah 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 blah. Right. So apparently, the guidelines for enforcing 20 miles an hour is 10% plus 2 mile an hour, or 10% plus 4 mile an hour in 20 mile an hour zones only, meaning that they start to prosecute at 26 mile an hour in a 20. Alright, So that means that you're basically going to be able to do 30 on these roads anyway. Now I don't know. I mean, this is NPCC guidelines, whatever that is. All right. But it says chief police officers have allowed us to increase this 10% plus 4 mile an hour in 20 mile an hour zones only. All right. So, but right again, right, most people aren't going to see that. They're going to see the 20 mile an hour sign, and so they're going to try and stick to 20 mile an hour. It's just going to back everybody up. And oh god. Again, I haven't scripted this. All right, this is all kind of a bit of a initial reaction to this news coming out about all this stuff. Oh, here's an interesting bit here. Why have you introduced a 20 mile an hour speed limit on residential roads and busy pedestrian streets across Wales? So this is just a Q&A, or excuse me, frequently asked questions site. And it says, the evidence from around the world is very clear. Decreasing speeds will reduce collisions, save lives and reduce injuries, helping to improve the quality of life and make our streets and local communities safer for all. A public health study estimated that 20 mile an hour default speed limit could result every year in 40% lower collisions, or 40% fewer collisions, 6 to 10 lives saved, 1,200 to 2,000 people avoiding injury. This change will also make streets safer for playing, walking and cycling, encourage more people to wheel? Don't know what that means. Wheel or cycle. Make our community safer, improve health and well-being, reduce noise pollution. Again, just same old nonsense. I really wish that they would actually include the evidence that they're using, the articles, the studies that were made. I'd love to see that in this answer. There's a perfectly good opportunity to put in the study that says that 20 mile an hour roads are the best, that they are amazing, that they're wonderful, that they're going to save people's lives and things like that. I want to see that, because again, it's just politicians lying again. They're just saying things because, oh, it will catch more people speeding, so therefore we can make more money from catching people speeding. That's what it says. That's what it says to people. It doesn't say that this is going to help people. You know, that's the thing though. It's so easy to have wishy-washy statements that have no evidence, that have nothing to support the statements that they're making, nothing to support the numbers that they are claiming. They don't have. It's about these things, right? It's about encouraging people to walk, wheel, whatever that is, and cycle. Apparently makes communities safer. Just ban cars, right? Just ban cars. Ban cars in suburban areas. Ban cars on residential roads. Just ban them. You know, what is the point? What's the point? Just ban them, right? If you really, really want to supposedly save people's lives, and you really want to stop cars from being such a problem, then just ban them. You know, just do it. Just bloody do it, honestly. Because I don't like this whole half measure thing. You know, if you're going to do something, you might as well do it properly. But that's the thing, they don't want to do it properly, because if they did, they'd lose out on revenue. They'd lose out from speeders' money, right? Honestly, just winds me up. It totally winds me up, this stuff. There's another question here saying, how much is this change costing? The introduction of a 20 mile an hour speed limit cost £32 million. It says the cost is outweighed by the casualty prevention savings, including the reduced impact on NHS. We've mentioned that before. One public health study estimates these savings could be up to £92 million every year. And that's apparently without considering the wider health benefits of people walking and cycling more. Ooh, it's wonderful. It's great, isn't it? We all get to walk and cycle everywhere, because we'll be able to go faster. Oh, I swear, man. I'm going to need a drink after this. Oh, dearie me. Can you believe this nonsense? One study. Okay. I wonder if this is the same study that they mention up here. A public health study estimated one study. I'm really sorry, but if you are a scientist of any kind and you do research, one study means the square root of jack shit, doesn't it? Guess what? If you have evidence to prove or disprove a certain hypothesis, it doesn't count unless it's peer reviewed. So send it off to peer review to get peer reviewed, right? And then we'll see whether or not this kind of stuff actually saves people's lives, actually reduces collisions by 40%, saves the NHS over £90 million a year. Oh, God. Again, it's all this stuff, right? When you start reading in between the lines, this is when you really start to realise the nonsense that these counsellors are just throwing at people's faces because it sounds right, it sounds correct, it sounds like the thing to do, the right thing to do. And a lot of people read this and are like, oh yeah, okay, 40% lower collisions from a study. Oh, the study says yes, it's 40% lower frigging collisions. Okay. Local councils and governments in the UK, and probably around the world, let's be honest, don't know how to conduct studies. And, well, this is the thing as well. I bet you that wasn't the only study. I bet you that is the study that that confirmed their bias, right? Confirmation bias is a very real thing. Okay, and this is confirmation bias. I bet you that there were 100 studies done, or maybe 10 studies, but they picked the one that best serves the narrative that they have. I bet you. I bet you my bikes. Well, this is interesting, this bit here. Why do people say this change will cost the economy £4.5 billion? Our assessment shows that reducing speeds to 20 mile an hour can result in an average increase of 1 minute per journey, 9 lives saved, and 98 serious injuries prevented each year. I can tell you now that is bollocks. It doesn't increase. It doesn't increase journey time by 1 minute. Depending on where you're going, it can increase journey times by 10-20 minutes because of the added levels of congestion. Before the law was passed, we introduced an impact assessment that considered all the potential costs. This was included in the explanatory memorandum, whatever the hell that is. It included the cost of any delays to travel time. The method used is now under academic debate for its effectiveness when calculating small delays. Thing is as well, like you could argue that even up to an hour of extended travel time is a small delay. But I mean, if you live in the town and you're just getting from one part of the town to the other, it's probably not going to impact your journey all that much. But if you're driving through the town, if you are trying to get to a town, then that's when it starts adding up the travel time. The slightly longer travel time was the only negative economic impact identified. It's estimated that the casualty prevention is blah blah blah. They say the same thing again. Again, it's bloody nonsense. Just same things again. What did you learn from the 20 mile an hour trial areas? Again, they haven't mentioned Chepstow. Says the most significant positive behaviour changes were observed in St Bride's Major and St Dogmeals. I don't know how to pronounce that. Dogmiles. People travelling at or below 24 mile an hour in St Bride's has increased from 23 to 45% following the introduction of a 20 mile an hour limit, and St Dogmeals has been increased from 54 to 84%. Research shows that each 1 mile per hour slower people drive in urban areas reduces the number of collisions by an average of 6%. Let me guess, that's the same study, the same research. The next monitoring report is expected to be published at the end of 2023. Alright. So I'm not going to keep you here much longer. These videos, they tend to go on for a little while because there's so many layers to these issues. I mean, there's one article here, Mark Drakeford. Who's that? I don't know who that is. Mark Drakeford says no to petitions calling for a U-turn on new speed limit. Mark Drakeford gave a 2-word response when asked if the Welsh Government would be reversing the default 20-mile-an-hour speed limit laws. So what did he say? What says he replied, no, whatever that word is in Welsh. I don't know, no chance or something like that. Well, that's very open-minded of you, isn't it, you twat? Says he explained the reason for the change is the lives of the people who would have been caught up in those road traffic accidents that won't happen when people drive at 20 that would have if they were to drive at 30. Again, it's the whole thing. We've been force-fed that 30 is best, and now it isn't. For God's sake, these people need to make up their minds. Who are these experts, so-called experts? It's not, right? They're not getting information from experts, are they? Let's be honest. They're just imposing these things because they want to. For reasons. They really do like to hide their real reasons for doing these kinds of things, and or they like to hide them behind things that are noble, that are saving people's lives, that are saving people money. Bollocks. Total bollocks. Anyway, yeah, so I mean, just wrapping up this one then. For my humble opinion is 20-mile-an-hour roads are stupid unless they are put in the right areas. The right areas are residential estates, not main roads, never main roads, even B roads, right? No B road ever should be a 20-mile-an-hour zone. End of. I don't care what anyone thinks. No B road should be 20 mile an hour. So residential estates, fine. Industrial estates, fine. Whatever, that's fine as well. Where people might be working, no problem. In city centres, fine. Right? Because that's only going to impact you if you are physically travelling into the city centre. If you're using a bypass to get around the city centre, then you shouldn't have any problems. You shouldn't be impacted by the 20 mile an hour rollout. Right? That I think is reasonable. But if they are doing this, like I experienced in Chepstow, then this will seriously take the piss. Alright? It's going to, as I mentioned, increase congestion. It's going to increase travel times by a lot more than 1 minute. Right? Because that increased congestion causes longer travel times. It's not just a case of, oh right, so if you had this road that was 20 mile an hour and there was no other traffic on it, yeah, fine, maybe on average it'd be 1 minute slower. But it isn't just you on the road. There's so many people on the road, and we need to be trying to ease this congestion, not adding to it, and this is not the way to go about it. I mean, if they really wanted to, they could open up more bypasses. So I mean, let's use the example of Chepstow. They could create a bypass going around Chepstow. If you didn't want to go into the town, you could go around it. But the main road going through Chepstow is 20 mile an hour. The main road going through the town is 20 mile an hour. And it's miles and miles and miles of 20 mile an hour. Right? I think it's a case of you get off the dual carriageway, or the motorway, I think it's the M4, you literally then get onto a B road which then starts 20 mile an hour, and then the 20 mile an hour zone doesn't end until you get onto the next dual carriageway. Literally miles. It's miles and miles and miles of road. It takes at least 10-15 minutes to get from the motorway to this other dual carriageway, right? Because I did it. I did it, and not good. All right. And again, they're basing all this on one study. You can't make decisions like this that impact so many people, because let's be honest here, the vast majority of people that are going to be impacted by this are going to be the road users, not the people that are getting run over, right? It's going to impact the road users more than anyone else, right? It's anti-motorist. All these things are anti-motorist, because where motorists want to be able to go faster, they want to be able to get to their destinations quicker, because, well, why not, right? You drive a car, you want to get somewhere quicker. That's how it's supposed to be. And this is trying to stop that from happening, right? And again, it's an agenda, it's a narrative that it's not about saving people's lives. It's about encouraging people to use their bikes, or well, cycle, not their motorcycles, to use their push bikes and to walk places and to use public transport. That's what these politicians want, rather than us being able to get to destination ourselves. That's the real narrative here. It's not actually about saving people's lives. It's got nothing to do with that. All right, the NHS is enough. Is always under stress. It always will be. And maybe you could make the argument that actually the reason why the NHS is so under pressure is because of all the budget cuts it's had over the last 10, 15 years. You know? Ask anyone that works for the NHS and they'll say the exact same thing. We've had less staff and more work. Not a good combination, right? Anyway, everyone, I'm going to leave that here with you to mull it over, and let me know down in the comment section what you think about these 20 mile an hour zones, and tell me I'm wrong, right? Why is it that all of a sudden 30 was the be all end all and now 20 is the be all end all? I don't understand, and I mark my words, this will get introduced across the UK. This will not stop in Wales, right? So we need to try and nip it in the bud right now, right? If Wales want to do that, then fine, that's up to them. It's going to reduce tourism, it's going to make their economy a shambles, and it's going to really just piss everyone off in Wales. It's going to make people want to move out of Wales into England or Scotland, just so they don't have to deal with 20 mile an hour zones everywhere, right? I wonder what impact that will have on the Welsh economy, right? They didn't think about that, did they? Anyway, right, I'm getting pissed off again. All right. Anyway, let's try and be a bit lighthearted about it, because this kind of stuff really winds me up. Anyway, this is a spicy one again, so let me know what you think down in the comment section below, as always. And, I mean, if you agree with what I've said today, leave a like, get subscribed, and if you want to see more things like this, hit the notification bell, all right, so you don't miss them. Because we need to spread awareness of these things again. No one seemed to know that this was happening until it happened, and now people are causing a fuss about it. Now it's going in the newspapers that people don't like this stuff happening. We need to stop these politicians from being able to do this stuff to begin with. As far as I'm concerned, there should have been a vote on this stuff. What's the point in electing these people if we're not allowed to vote on issues that impact our day-to-day lives? What the hell's that all about? Anyway, that's a totally different thing entirely. Alright, so thank you again ever so much for watching all the way to the end of this one. Take care, ride safe, I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye bye.